stress or strain on the body. And whether you're on your back or seated, let's see if you can lengthen the spine here just a little bit. Stretching down a little further into the tailbone, up a little further into the crown. Hands alongside of the body or on the knees, and just let your palms face down towards the earth. As we soften the facial muscles, relax through the forehead, soften the jaw. Relaxing as you take the eye gaze gently towards the third eye. Softening the inner edges of the eyes as well. And as we start to find our way into our breath, just finding those inhales and exhales a little deeper, a little more elongated. And start to engage the back of the throat, lifting up the back corner edges very softly. Letting that half smile or smirk shine upon the face. And allow a little audibility on the back of the throat to come out as you exhale. Soften through the shoulders, soften through the heart. Allow your body to sink down into the mat a little bit more. One or two more breaths with the palms facing down. Very gently roll back through the shoulders. Let the palms face up for a moment or for a few moments. Whether the hands be on the knees or alongside of the body, and just start to ask yourself what it is that you're needing from your practice this morning. Giving your mind, your heart, and your body a few breaths to just think and reply. And as these answers begin to bubble up, let's go ahead and bring hands to heart center, capturing the answers and starting to bring them into our intention. As the hands come together, start to rub them, create that heat, that friction, that focal point here with your intention. Go ahead and separate the hands on an inhale, and we'll go ahead and cup the eyes, letting the thumbs come to the temple, outer corner edges of the eyes as we're finishing up that gallbladder meridian this month. Relax through the shoulders. Breathing in the energy of that intention into all of our cells. One more full breath, and then bringing hands back to heart. And go ahead and take a moment here asking ourselves what it is that we want to send out into the world in the way of a prayer or a mantra, a feeling, some energy, some love, whatever you want to call it. Go ahead and identify it. Separate the hands as you inhale. Elbows softly come in to the waist as the palms come out. A little space between the thumbs and the palm. Two more breaths here, spreading that light. Reminding us that we are all one. Hands come back together, taking a soft bow, coming into our practice once again this morning. Release the hands. And now we begin. So let's go ahead, staying with our Ujjayi breath. If you are on your back, just take a moment here to sway the knees a little bit. And go ahead and roll to the side. Take that top hand, push it in front of the heart, and slowly make your way up to a seated easy pose. Crossing at the ankles, easy pose. And if you're feeling a little more flexible this morning, maybe coming into a half lotus, that would be where one heel comes up into the hip, and then full lotus sometimes is a little too intense at the beginning of class. We can take that second foot up if we work into the hips a little bit. So I'm going to keep it here because of my knees this morning in a easy pose. We'll go ahead and take the hands to the knees and just start to take a very slow seated cat-cow. Keeping with that Ujjayi breath and just taking about 50% of that flexibility within the body. Allowing the body to slowly warm up, slowly open up. Moving with your own breath's pace, take about 2 to 3 more. And coming back up to seated. Nice tall spine. So let's go ahead, we'll take the hands, we'll bring the thumbs right to the outside, just gently tapping through the skull. Very soft taps, just start to awaken, start to draw this blood flow upward into the brain, waking us up this morning, maybe across the forehead, remembering all these points here are within that gallbladder meridian. Few more taps, and then bringing that down into the heart, starting to awaken this area of the body. Swiping down the arms underneath, come down that side body and gently clear off all the way down to the toes this morning. Get the bottoms of the feet. Beautiful. All right, so now come back to seated. Switch those shins if you'd like, and hands come back to the knees. We'll start to drop the head down, let the chin come into the chest, still stay tall, lifting the heart, and just start to find a little stretch on the back of the body. Try not to actively draw the chin down, just surrender to gravity here. Start to find a little bit of a swipe across the chest. Exhale down, inhale up to the side. Relax through the jaw. Find a little more movement here. And eventually, let's take that right ear on over to right shoulder. Take that left hand to the shoulder. Let's see if we can find slow circles with that elbow. Make sure to go in both directions, maybe just about 3 to 4 circles each way. Come back nice and tall through the spine. We'll go ahead and take that left hand, reaching it to the mat. Take a few inches, walking the fingertips back, open up a little further in front of the heart and the shoulder. Another few breaths. If you'd like, you can take that right hand up, bringing that hand again to that beginning gallbladder point. You can softly pull. Find a little bit of a deeper stretch, never pulling to cause strain or too much stretch in the body. Take that last breath or two here. Especially if you slept a little cramped up with a pillow. I'm feeling it in the neck this morning. This feels good. Release. We'll go ahead and bring the hands back to the knees. Take a soft look from right to left. Keep that jaw relaxed. We'll take the eye gaze forward once again. We'll take the hands clasping underneath the chin. Find a little lift. Inhale. Draw the chin down, elbows squeeze in as you exhale. We'll take about 3 more before we come into the other side of the neck. And release it back to neutral. Hands come back to knees. So we'll go ahead, take that chin, drop it on down once again. We'll find that little swipe across. Inhale to one side, exhale down and across, inhale up to the other. After a few swipes, we'll go ahead and take that left ear over to left shoulder. Take your time, as many swipes as you need. Once that left ear comes over to left shoulder, we'll go ahead and take a few breaths here. Right hand comes up to the shoulder, finding a few little circles here, nice and slow. Make sure to go in both directions with the elbow circles. And then bring that hand back down to the floor. Start to walk the fingertips away from you and maybe back a few inches, finding a little more opening in the front of the chest and shoulder. Keep the jaw relaxed. Breathe in through that right ear. Draw the breath down through the neck, the jaw, and the shoulder. 3 or 4 more breaths. Maybe that left hand comes up, finding a deeper stretch here as you softly place that hand right above the right ear, or left hand above the right ear. Take that final breath. We'll release the hands, bring them back to the knees. Slowly lift the eye gaze up. Look right and left just a few more times. Keeping that jaw soft. Come back to center. We'll bring the hands underneath the chin, interlace your fingers, start to lift up. Inhale with the nose and the elbows. Exhale back down. Take maybe 2 or 3 more. Reset. Beautiful. One last lift. Inhale. And exhale down. Let's go ahead, release those hands to the knees and sit up nice and tall. Let's start to find our little circles, just awakening that mid body, starting to rise that Kundalini, Shakti energy from the root. Waking up into our practice. Slowly draw that energy, continue lifting up towards the crown. Focus on that inhale as you draw the energy upward. 3, 2, and 1. Coming back to center where we spiral that energy back down, balancing out that Shiva and that Shakti energy. Shiva is the feminine energy at the base of the spine. We slowly rise that energy up. Or did I say Shakti's at the base of the spine, rising up to Shiva. Shiva is the masculine energy at the top. Shiva and Shakti is a love story. So having that masculine and feminine energy meeting and balancing. Slowly come back down. 3, 2, and 1. Beautiful. Hands reach to heart. Inhale. Press it on forward as you exhale. We'll lift up nice and tall to the ceiling. Inhale again and exhale. Release the hands down. Connect with the earth. Draw that earth energy back up to the heart as you inhale. Exhale forward. We'll take a few more of these seated pranayamas. Exhale, hands down. Grab that earth energy. Bring it to the heart as you inhale. Push it forwards, expanding it through the body. And last set here. Beautiful. Come back down. Just connect with the earth for a few breaths here. Gently open up the eyes. Let's go ahead and make our way onto our hands and knees, coming into our active practice, starting in tabletop. So once we make our way onto all fours, if you have a couple of blocks, bring them on in this morning. You may choose to use them through these poses. So make sure all 10 tips of the fingers are pressing down, almost as if you're gripping into like a clump of clay, or if you were at the park and your hands were in grass and you're just gripping down into the earth. Take a few cat-cows here, starting to move nice and slow through the spine, taking your own pace. Remember that you're always welcome to hold a cat or a cow pose. Just keep breathing that breath as you hold the physical posture. or if you'd rather, continue moving fluid-like. Let's go ahead and finish off with just a few more cat-cows. Remember, you can move organically as well, finding any space within the body that you need to. And bring it on back to neutral. From here, let's start to tuck our toes, come up into that first down dog this morning. Let's shake the week off. Shake, shake, shake it off. That way we start out this weekend with a nice, fresh, clean slate. Anything that you've been holding on to, anything that's been weighing you down, shake it off. 3, 2, and 1. Come back to stillness. Let's go ahead and separate those feet wide to the outer edges of the mat. Let the arms extend a little further and see if you can find a little more space on the backs of the legs. If the hamstrings are tight this morning, you can always soften the knees a bit. Maybe letting the heels sink back towards the floor, a little flex of the toes towards the shins. One more full breath here in that wide-footed down dog, and then we'll start to slowly walk the hands all the way back to the toes. Take a moment here and we'll find a gentle sway within the body. Holding on to opposite elbows or fingertips can come to the mat. Finding a little movement. You can also stay in stillness if you need to. Just about 3 more breaths here. Exhale, fold and drape over the legs. We'll go ahead and take the fingers to the 4th toe. Let's trace that gallbladder meridian up the sides of the legs, all the way to the armpit. Walk it on up to the top of the mat. Take a moment here as we start to bring the big toes together. We'll roll the shoulders back a few times. And then let the palms face forward as we stretch down through the fingertips. Find a little opening here from shoulder to shoulder. Lift it on up overhead as we inhale, eye gaze to thumbs. Swan dive it down as you exhale, forward fold. Push the big toes into the mat, inhale, half lift. Exhale down, plant the hands, right foot steps back, drop to the knee. Inhale it up. Find a little more depth of stretch as you exhale, sink down a little bit further. I've been bringing this move in at the beginning of each class, really trying to focus on opening up the front of the body a little bit more in front of those hips. Finding a little more balance within that pelvic girdle structure. Relax the shoulders down into the shoulder girdle. Beautiful. Let's find a little twist. Take that right hand to the left knee. Left hand comes to the hip. We'll go ahead and find a little twist and gently peel that left shoulder back. A few more breaths here. When you're ready, we'll inhale those hands all the way up. Exhale, bring them down, frame that foot. Take that back toe, lift the knee. Left foot comes back to plank. Let's go ahead and hold here. See if we can find some spiraling circles here through the hips. Maybe 3 to 4 circles in each direction. Stay strong through those shoulders. Don't collapse into the shoulder joints. This can be done with the knees on the mat as well. Come back to plank. Hips draw back. Down dog. Pedal it out. Or shake. Take another 2 breaths here in stillness. Walk the hands back to the toes. Find one more trace of that gallbladder meridian. Walking your way up to the top of the mat as we do so. Beautiful. Release the hands alongside of the body. Roll the shoulders back. Palms come forward, stretching down through the fingertips. Inhale, eye gaze up, looking at the thumbs. Exhale, swan dive it down. Inhale, half lift, drawing a little earth energy to the heart. Exhale, back down. Take that left foot, step it back. Drop to the knee, inhale up, low lunge. Sink it down as you exhale. Relaxing the shoulders into the shoulder girdle. You can also take hands to heart. Maybe rest the hands on the knees. And one other option if you've got blocks. We can get a little bit lower here. So wherever you are in this low lunge, we'll take 3 more breaths. And finding that left hand, come to the right knee, right hand to the right hip, and find your twist on the other side. Relax the shoulders down from the jaw, the neck area. 3 more breaths here. Sinking down on that exhale. And start to come back up to center, inhale. Frame that front right foot, exhale. Tuck the toe, lift the knee, step it back to plank. Take a moment here to find your plank. Let the neck be long, eye gaze right underneath the nose. Tapping the right knee, left knee, both knees. Right, left, both. Right, left, both. 2 more. Right, left, both. Last one. Keep the knees down on that last tap. Push it on back. Find child's pose here for a few breaths. Start to calm the breath down. Lengthening those inhales and exhales, finding 3 more breaths. We'll go ahead and slowly come up a little bit, lift the heart. Excuse me, working that stuff out of the lungs this morning. All right, so we'll get a little bit into the shoulders here. We're going to start to work them out, warm them up, activate. Let's start to roll a ball underneath or in front of the nose to the top of the mat. As you push forward, exhale. Push up and through, inhale, cobra. Exhale down, elbows hug in. Inhale, push it back, child's pose or peaceful warrior. Exhale, dive it forward. Inhale up and through. Exhale down, elbows hug in. Inhale, push it back, peaceful warrior. Exhale, push the ball. Inhale up and through. Exhale back down. Inhale back to the heels. Find about 3 more of these. Go at your own pace. If you need to switch up your breath a little bit, feel free to. Taking a little bit slower. Let's push it back on that last one and find that peaceful warrior once again, hips to heels. Hands up over the head, getting a nice shoulder stretch. 2 more breaths here. And then slowly begin to lift up the body once again. Let's go ahead, take that right hand up, inhale, thread the needle, exhale, halfway through. Inhale, back up. Exhale, slide the arm all the way through. Bring that right shoulder to the mat. Bring your block in here if you'd like. You can either rest that right ear on the mat or the block. If you're on the block, finding a little more space to thread that needle. You can keep the left hand here in front of the eye gaze. Start to tuck that back left toe and see if you can lift up, straighten the leg. You might have to step back a little bit and bring a little more weight into that right shoulder. Leaning in to find a little more space behind that shoulder blade. Another breath or two here. Bring that left knee back down to the mat. Left hand stays in front of the eye gaze. Slowly lift up, releasing that right hand out. Go ahead and give a little wiggle here. Hand comes back down to the mat. Take a few cat-cows as a reset. Come on back into our tabletop. Let the knees go just a little bit wider, just a few inches. Right hand stays on the mat, so we can take that left hand up. Inhale, thread the needle halfway through as you exhale. Bring it back up as you inhale, and then bring it all the way through. Left shoulder all the way down to the mat. I like to bring a block in. That gives a little more space and a little more support as we drop into that left shoulder. Keep that right hand in front of your eye gaze. As you lean into the shoulder, find a little space underneath the shoulder blade. Tucking those right toes. See if you can straighten the leg and find a little more weight into the shoulder, a little more stretch. We'll take about 4 to 5 breaths here. One or two more breaths. When you're ready, we'll bring that right knee back to the mat. Press that right palm down, lift the left hand back out. We'll bring that left hand up, wiggle, and plant it back underneath the shoulder. Take another few cat-cows here, resetting from our twists. Bring it on back. Tabletop, tuck your toes. Let's find down dog once again. Shake it off if you'd like. You can also continue to pedal it out, your choice. 3, 2, and 1. Come back to stillness. Let's start to lift that right leg back. Coming on into our 3-legged dog. Inhale. Bend the knee. If you'd like, circle through that hip a few times. Eye gazes back to your left toes. Make sure to go in both directions with the circles of the hips. Right leg all the way back to 3-legged dog. Inhale, bring it on forward and through to lunge. Exhale. Coming into a crescent lunge. Inhale it up. Make sure you have your base nice and stable. As I wobble, relax the shoulders down into the shoulder girdle. Let's go ahead and find a few little dips here of that knee. Beautiful. One more. And then drop that knee all the way down to the earth. Untuck that back toe. Let's come into saluting the moon. We'll heel toe that right foot in front of the knee, narrowing our stance, and then shortening it as well, about 6 inches in between the heel and knee. Hands come up, prayer position. We'll dive it forward, engaging all 3 bandhas, Mula Bandha, belly button Uddiyana Bandha, and then the throat Jalandhara Bandha. Try and take the forehead to the kneecaps. Hands can separate, framing the foot if you're challenged for balance. Or palms stay together, tucking the fingertips in between the big toe and second toe. Keep breathing in and out through the nose, making that connection, that closed circuit within the body. Coming up on that full moon here next week. Allowing all of those seeds that we planted during new moon to start to sprout. Slowly press into that back shin. We'll lift it on up. Inhale. Beautiful. Tuck into the back toe. Lift the knee. If you need a little help, push onto the thigh. Let's go ahead and twist forward. We'll twist to the left. And from here, we'll come on into our lunge. Crescent lunge, high on that rear toe. We'll go ahead and come down, finding a little bit of a dip, working on the strength of the legs. Excuse me. Last one, bring it on down. Untuck the toe. Heel toe that left foot to center, narrowing your stance, and then shortening it as well. About 6 inches in between the heel and the knee. From here, let's dive it forward. Mula Bandha engaged, Uddiyana Bandha engaged, Jalandhara Bandha engaged. When all three are engaged, this creates Mahabandha, drawing that energy all the way up to the crown. 3 or 4 more breaths, squeezing everything to center. Forehead to knee, hands can separate for balance, or palms stay together, tucking the fingers in between the 2 toes, big toe and second toe. Final 3 breaths. Push softly into the back right shin, slowly lift up, inhale. Tuck or heel toe that foot out a little bit. We'll find a little more stability. Then tuck that back right toe, lift it on up. We're gonna take the hands down, exhale. Take that left leg back, inhale, 3-legged dog. Go ahead and draw the heel to the glute, circle through that left leg now. Opposite direction with the circles. Left leg comes back, inhale, 3-legged dog, exhale it forward, come back to lunge. Inhale, hands up. Prayer position, exhale, bring that right knee down. Saluting the moon, coming back around. Go ahead and create that 6-inch distance in between the heel and the knee. Come back down, and we'll hold for 3 breaths. Same pose. We're taking this revolve or revolution in reverse. Taking that full cycle of the moon, inhale on up. Tucking the back right toe, lift it up, inhale. Bring it forward. On over to the right. Take a moment, dropping down into that left knee. Untuck the back toes. Shorten and narrow your stance. Inhale, lift up. Exhale, dive it forward. Hands can open up, framing the foot, or remember to tuck those fingertips in between the big toe and second toe. All 3 bandhas engaged, forehead to the kneecap. Last breath. Inhale it on up. Beautiful. Open it up, tuck that back left toe, lift. Hands come down, exhale, frame the foot, step it back, and down dog. Find a little bounce. 3, 2, 1. Let's go ahead, walk it forward. Taking small little steps to the top of the mat. We'll bring our block in this morning. Letting the block come underneath the heart. We can scoot back just a little bit so we're not crowding the top of the mat. Take a moment here. We're going to find Ardha Chandrasana, half moon, but first we're going to come into a modified variation of our warrior three. So with hands on the block, we'll ground down through that left foot, start to take the right leg back, creating a T shape with the body. Pushing back into that right heel. Lengthen through the neck all the way to the crown. Beautiful. If you'd like, continued balance on that left foot. Maybe lift the block to the heart and back down. You can do that a few times. One more. Beautiful. So bring the block underneath that left shoulder. Right foot is back. Keep the left hand on the block and slowly start to come into Ardha Chandrasana. Lift that right hand up, stack the shoulders. Strengthen through that right leg by pushing back through the heel. And that base left foot, the toes are still pointing towards the top of the mat. Take a few breaths. We'll go ahead and slowly begin to drop that right hand down to the block once again. And then bring your hands onto the floor, coming into standing splits. Eye gaze in between the hands, walk them back, lifting that right leg a little taller. Neck is long, 3 breaths here. And then slowly drop that right foot to forward fold. Draw earth energy up to the heart. Inhale, half lift. Exhale, down. Reverse swan dive up. Inhale, draw back through the elbows. Exhale. Inhale up. One more time. This time, stick out the tongue, lion. Inhale up. One more lion. Stick it out. Inhale up. Hands come back down into the heart. Take a few breaths. Bring the hands back behind you when you're ready. Grasping and clasping the fingers together. See if you can draw down towards the tailbone. Ground down into the feet. Begin to lift that energy up through the feet, the legs, through the lower belly. Lift up tall through the spine. Start to take the eye gaze to where the wall and ceiling meet. As the shoulders roll back, starting to come into a little back bend, walking the gaze back to where you're comfortable. Keeping that neck nice and long, shoulders down from the jaw. Glutes engaged, hips over the knees. 2 more breaths here. Slowly lift up. Engage those abs, straighten the spine. Release those hands down. Roll the shoulders back. Find a little march before we find the other side of Ardha Chandrasana and our standing splits. Bring the hands up, inhale. Swan, dive it down as you exhale. Bring that block underneath the heart. So take a few moments here as we start to find our feet underneath the hips. Bringing the weight into that right foot. See if you can stretch that left leg back. Finding a warrior 3 modification. Really start to try and focus that balance into the right foot. If you can, holding onto the block, maybe lift it up into the heart a few times. That way we're not completely relying on that block. We start to build that strength in the right leg. So the block now comes underneath the right shoulder. Take that right hand, press into the block. See if you can stack the shoulders, start to lift that left hand up. That back left leg pushes into the heel, legs engaged. Eye gaze may decide to stay to the floor. And in the full extent of the pose, we lift the eye gaze up to the left fingertips. 2 more breaths, Ardha Chandrasana. And gently bringing that left hand back down. Come back to standing splits, hands under the shoulders, straighten out that right toe or right foot if it came at an angle, and then walk the hands back towards the foot as that left leg lifts. Neck is long, 3 breaths here. Left leg drops, forward fold, pedal it out. And actually heel toe the feet wide, coming to the outer edge of the mat. Let's find our shimmy shake, Shakti shake, penguin waddle, ground it on out. Setting down anything that weighs you down, allowing this shaking medicine to help you release. 3, 2, and 1. Let's go ahead and bring it on down to the knees. Take a moment here. We're going to come into hero. So we're going to lift up onto the knees, let them squeeze together in front of us, and the heels will open up behind us, creating a little pie shape. I may need a block this morning, so I'm going to grab one, place it in between the heels. Folded up blankets work just as well, or pillows. And as we sit up tall through the spine, maybe roll the shoulders back here a little bit. As we check in with the legs, make sure that the feet are parallel with the outer edge of the mat. Toes aren't tucking underneath the glutes and they're not flaring out to the side as well. So we'll take hands back in front of the heart. Find a little pressure in between the palms, letting the elbows rise, but the shoulders soften and release down. Find a little pressure, opposing hand as you swipe across the chest. Bring the hands back into heart. Taking a moment here, lift up through the right fingertips, inhale, swiping the koshas as you exhale, or the different energetic layers or physical layers of the body. Continue alternating right and left hand. Try to make it a seamless transition in front of the heart, weaving that beautiful, infinite, unconditional love into you. Finding that unconditional love focused on yourself and also focused outward, remembering that they are all the same. We cannot love outside of ourselves until we fully accept and love who we are. We are all divine beings, not expected to be perfect, but just to continue to show up and experience this beautiful ride called life. Hands come back to the heart. We'll go ahead and take a moment here. Just breathe. If your body's unfolding, maybe you want to take that block out from the hips. You can bring it down a little bit further. And you can also recline your hero's pose. So only when the hips get down to the floor, you can start to walk it back. I'm still on a block, just kind of showing a little bit. But you can come all the way back and let the shoulders come all the way to the mat, like you're lying down, and then hands can come up over the head. We'll take those last few breaths here. I know those toes are probably turning a nice, beautiful color of purple or blue. Let's go ahead and trace that meridian line and then get on out of hero pose. So we'll take the fingers, just do a little tapping here on the beginning point of that gallbladder meridian. Begin to swipe the hair almost as if you're drawing it behind your ears. Bring it back up to the top of the brow and back down the back of the neck, coming back from the armpit area down the side of the body, glutes, front of the hips, down the sides of the legs to that fourth toe. Give a little boop, pull on that fourth toe. We'll release the block, come back up. Take a moment here to tap out the feet. And let's go ahead and get some blood flow back into them. Tuck your toes, lift the hips up, find your down dog. Again, a little Shakti shake here. Letting that blood flow get back into those tootsies. 3, 2, 1. From down dog, soften the knees here just a little bit. We'll take that right foot, see if you can step it over the left. Sink back into that right heel and push firmly into the right palm. Eye gaze is back to the feet. Leaning those hips to the left a little bit, finding a little more stretch on that right side body. Bring it on back to center. Shake. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Soften the knees. Let's take that left foot, step it back and over the right. Sink back into the left heel and find a little pressure into that left palm. Leaning a little bit over to the right side of the mat. Finding that nice stretch and opening all the way up that left side body. 2 more breaths. Bring it on back, down dog, and shake. 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Let's walk the feet forward. Coming up to the top of the mat, let's go ahead and come down into a little ball. Inhale, lift the hips. Exhale, drop them down to the heels. So take a moment to lift the eye gaze forward. See if we can come down onto those glutes without the use of the hands. If you need them, please use the hands. All right, so we're gonna come on down to those glutes. If you have your block, we'll go ahead and bring that on in today. And let's roll back onto the back. You can do a slow reverse sit-up or a tuck and roll. Maybe a little tuck of the fingertips underneath the glutes and a nice slow descend. So take a few moments here, just find a little playful rock or roll on the back. Knees can draw up into the chest or up towards the sky. See if you can roll over every square inch of the back. I'm doing it nice and slow. We'll come back to center and make sure that you're centered on your mat so that you can extend the feet down beneath you. And then come back just once you measure that out. Bring the feet back to the floor, knees rise towards the ceiling. All right, so let's go ahead, lift the feet up. Let there be about a 90-degree bend in the hips and the knees. And we're going to place the block here right on the shins. From here, let's go ahead and reach the hands down alongside of the body. We'll start to stretch forward, coming into a little crunch. Breathe. Don't hold the breath. Keep that squeeze. And slowly release. Hands come down. We'll go ahead and reach the feet forward. Let those feet hover. Hands can come right alongside of you. Press those palms into the earth. 3, 2, 1. Inhale, the legs up. Exhale, reach it forward. Inhale, back to the mat. Exhale, stretch the legs long. Inhale, draw them up. Exhale, reach it forward. Inhale, back. Exhale, legs long. Inhale up to 90 degrees. Exhale forward for that crunch. Inhale back down. Exhale, legs extend, maybe a little heel tap, inhale back up, exhale, crunch. So continue with these fluid crunches. Move at your own breath's pace. We'll take about 10. Getting that nice little glisten going this morning. Starting to pump it up a little bit. Starting to move that energy, burn through those tapas, that angst, that anxiety, that tension within the body. Allowing us to work through it. Last 2 or 3, 10 seemed a little ambitious. But if you got 10 in you, go for it. Take the block, bring it onto the side, and take a moment here. Just let the knees come up towards the ceiling, plant the feet down, take the feet wide, and just let the legs fall in towards one another. Breathe. Maybe hands are up over the head. Ujjayi breath through the nose, starting to slow the breath down. One more breath here. Hands come back down alongside of the body. So take a moment to heel toe those feet back to about hips distance. We'll lift the feet up, let the hands connect with those kneecaps. Find a little roll here across that lower back and sacrum area. Excuse me this morning. So once we come back to center, we'll keep the hands on the knees and just start to find a few little circles here. Slow, move with your breath. Finding a last pose of your choice, maybe a little happy baby. That's where I'll be going into. So if you'd like another yogi's choice pose here, feel free to bring it on in. If you decide to come into that happy baby, go ahead and reach for the outer edge of the feet. If we're still working, or if you're still working on that gallbladder meridian, feel free to hold on to that 4th toe as well. Knees come down alongside of the body. Try to keep the spine long. Try not to let the shoulders or the tailbone curl up. So we'll flatten back into the earth. If that requires you holding on a little bit lower onto the legs, feel free to. The nice thing about this month and our happy baby pose is that meridian line runs all the way along the outer edge of the leg. So anywhere you grab onto, we're still holding on to that energetic highway of energy. Final 3 to 4 breaths here. Facial muscles continue to relax and gently release. Go ahead, take your time. Again, coming down into a final Shavasana, or if there's any other stretches, movements that you want to bring in. I hear all the little Tweety birds right outside the window. Means it's going to be a beautiful day outside. I know we've got a little storm coming on in, but not today. So get out there if you can. I think we've got some good sunshine today. All right, so as you settle in, I'm going to find our reading for this morning. And you're always welcome to tune into the reading, or feel free to completely tune me out and just find your way into your own meditation, or just focus on your breath. So this morning, our reading is called Getting at What Matters. And the quotation reads at the beginning: if you want to be truly understood, you need to say everything 3 times in 3 different ways. once for each ear and once for the heart. Paula Underwood Spencer. So the reading begins. For years, I felt so unheard that when asked a question after speaking my heart, I'd take it as rejection or criticism. Often, though, it was just someone trying to understand. What was called for was for me to circle the unsayable and try again. I've learned that true dialogue requires both speakers and listener to try several times to get at what matters. For sometimes the truth is uttered just as I have to cough, or your heart opens and closes while I'm struggling to land. So much depends on timing. And so I've learned not to repeat myself, but to play what matters like a timeless melody again and again. If the one before me is honest and sincere. So take a few breaths here and just take a moment to receive those words. And later, sometime today, maybe practice this talking meditation where you sit with a loved one and take turns circling the unsayable. First, tell your loved one how you feel about them. Then take some time in silence and say how you feel again. After some more time in silence, take each other's hands and say how you feel one last time. I absolutely love that reading for this current time. I think we can be very quick to close off or be defensive at anything. And so just take a moment here. I love that. The power of three. Once for each ear and a third time for the heart. Breathing those words in. Breathing the energy in of your practice. Allowing yourself to marinate within that energy. Thank you for joining me on the mat this morning. I'm so very grateful for this community continuing to come together. I'm so very grateful for the accountability of continuing to show up, not only for my own personal practice, but to teach as well. So thank you so very much for that opportunity. The light in me honors the light in you. Here's to a beautiful day ahead. Take a moment today to slow down and really appreciate what we have in front of us. Here's to a beautiful Saturday. Namaste. Thank you to some of my favorite ladies in the universe this morning. I'm so grateful to be able to do yoga with you. From me and my trusty steed Dexter, who is now fast asleep again on the couch this morning. Happy Saturday, guys. If you haven't had enough yoga, we got another class at 9. So love to you, Robin, Valerie, Kim.